I'd like to preface this video with some information about the old motherboard that was in this case. I did some further troubleshooting, and it turns out the board actually does work fine, but you plug anything SATA into it, and it just shits itself. It just doesn't work at all. So the SATA on this board is absolutely busted. So this board is still usable, but you have to use an IDE hard drive and an IDE DVD drive, which is fine. I can do that. I have the IDE cables and hard drives to do so. So I'll probably use it for something. But I'm probably gonna put the original Athlon 64 back on, and I had an X2 in there to test it out, just to see if, because I got SATA working for a minute there, but then it just quit again. So I'll probably put the Athlon 64 back on it, and then just use it the way as it was, with the 1 gig of RAM and everything. I might make it a Linux machine. It has an NVIDIA graphics chip on it, though, so maybe that's not in my best interest. I'm not sure, guys. I'm not sure, but in any case, this board does not have working SATA, and I will not use a PCI controller card that may or may not be reliable, especially on a board that isn't trustworthy in the first place due to parts of it not working. That's a hack job I would never give to a customer, as I said in the comments. As you saw in the previous video, the power supply also had a bloated cap in it, but I don't think that was what was causing the problem. So, there you have it. All that would do is cause some ripple current to go through. And I tested it with this particular power supply, and it did the same thing. So it's not the power supply's problem, it's the board's issue. The SATA part of it's just busted completely. So, there you have it. Well, folks, it's time to build this machine that I told you about. Parts came in today. Here I have the BioStar motherboard here, the H61 MGC. This motherboard was $50 on Newegg, and it had pretty damn good reviews, so we decided on this one. A Pentium dual-core G620, which is the lowest end Pentium dual-core you can get, but it'll be enough to run Citrix, because that's pretty much all they do. 128 gigabyte ADATA SSD, so it comes with a bracket too, so I'll be able to stick it in here. And the SSD should up their productivity big time, just because I can start the computer faster. That's what they observed at the other insurance office. Got a copy of Windows, DVD drive, a SATA DVD drive, and 4 gigs of RAM. Excellent. Although this system is supposed to have 8 gigs, because 8 gigs would be ideal for what they want to do. But what can you do about it? So I have RAM that's I have tall RAM that's in that machine. I might take that out of there and stick it in here, just so that I have all small RAM in there, which would be kind of nice. So I'll give him the tall RAM, I get the small RAM. Yee! So let's get started building this thing, shall we? Okay, so the first thing I think we should look at is to turn the ionic breeze away so I'm not breathing in crap. Anyhow, I think the first thing we should take a look at is the motherboard, since this is the heart of the system. 22 nanometer. It's an H61 chipset, which is an older chipset for Intel boards, but should do just fine for an office machine. It's built pretty well. I'm pretty confident in these boards. Solid caps. Gigabit LAN, HD audio. So let's open this up and take a look. Alright. Main board. There you go. Backing plate. SATA cables, which I'm going to need. And the board itself. which is in a non-mylar bag, which kind of sucks. I'm gonna have to just stick it on the ground. So let's unwrap this and I'll take a look at it. And here's the new board. I'm just gonna shut that off. Here's the board. It's a socket 1155 motherboard. It has some electrolytics on it. Not a whole lot though, as far as capacitors go. The ones on the voltage regulator are all solid, so that's good to see. It has 2 RAM slots, which are capable of running 1333, and that's it, because of the chipset. Has a single X16 slot, which will not be used. And it also has 2 PCIe X1 slots, which will probably not be used either, unless they need special connections. It has 4 SATA ports, which is nice. Has a parallel port header right there, that purple. Focus. There we go. Has a serial header as well, so I can actually put that serial header back in the computer, but I doubt they'll ever use it again. These look like USBs. That's the front panel. There you have it. I don't know what audio this thing has. It might be Realtek, it might be Sigma, it might be Realtek, it might be VIA, who knows. But it shouldn't matter either way because it's an office machine. But the board, people are giving these boards pretty good feedback, so I'll give them leeway. So you get PS2, real PS2, which is good to see. DVI and VGA, 4 USB ports, Ethernet, and onboard sound. So it's an all-around, it's just a very basic board. The BIOS chip is actually socketed, which is good to see. Win-bond BIOS chip there. So that will go in here, and will be the new office machine. It's much smaller than the old board, as you can see. These older boards were a lot wider, but these are more like UATX instead of micro ATX as far as size goes. So that's true micro ATX. This is probably UATX as far as size goes. So what else have we got here? RAM I took out of my machine. That is the same value as the stuff I bought for this guy. I just made my machine back there consistent and having all 4 small RAM sticks, and I'll give him these RAM sticks, which are the same except that they're a high-profile stick. Telephone. Alright, let's take out the processor. So here we have the Pentium dual-core, and I chose a Pentium dual-core because it should be enough to run Citrix. It really just should be. If you can run Citrix on a socket 775 Pentium dual-core, I don't see why you can't run it on a socket 1155 Pentium dual-core. Comes with a little manual, which I think will have the sticker on the back. Yes, it does. So I can take off the AMD Athlon 64 sticker and put this on there. Excellent. So here is the heatsink and the processor itself. I'm just going to be using the stock heatsink because it's an office machine, so it doesn't matter too much. It should work it should work fine. It really should. So here's the information on the chip itself. It's a 2.6 gigahertz processor, so you know it's at the lower end, but it doesn't have to be high end at all. It really doesn't. So I'll pull out the CPU itself here. There you have it. Look at all those pins. Stick that over there. And I'll pull the heatsink out and we'll just get this thing together. Alright, I got the motherboard all put together and I got this DVD drive connected here. So, there you go. Motherboard's been put in. There's the stock heatsink, which I don't like, but it'll work. These wires are a mess, so I'm going to probably rubber band or twisty them up. Whoever built this before was just excessive with zip ties. I freaking can't stand. Now I know why UXW Bill hates them. They're just a pain to work with. Every time you work on a machine and take it apart, you have to just spend like 15 minutes cutting zip ties, and that sucks. That just sucks. So, for God's sake, guys, use twisties and rubber bands. It's just excessive sometimes. Especially when maintaining a machine or rebuilding it or whatever. It's just annoying as hell. So, there you have it. I also put the RAM in, which is looking beautiful in there. I left the floppy drive in, even though it's not going to be used for anything. I left it in there just so there isn't a hole in the case, so it doesn't look unprofessional or anything. Hopefully it doesn't confuse anybody, because that would be weird. I put this Cooler Master power supply in there. This was in my LAN party machine, and this will replace the one that was in there, which is that iMicro with the bad caps in it. So there you have it. Alright, so here we have the SSD that we're going to put in here. It's an 8-data SSD. And let's open it up and take a look. Well, it probably has a frickin' sticker. Yeah, it does. I hate these little stickers. They're kind of a pain. You know, I really hate those stickers. Alright, fuck. Alright, now maybe my camera will listen to me and be in the right direction. Take a look at this SSD. Here's the SSD itself. It is 128 gigabytes in size, and it supports SATA 3, which is nice. There you go. It's quite lightweight, as all SSDs are. So, nice thing is it came with a bracket, and this bracket is definitely going to be used since this is a desktop case. So, I've watched Linus Tech Tips videos, and I've seen these brackets in many SSD unboxings that he's done. So, these are pretty common with SSDs that you buy that have the kit where the kit comes with them. You get a bag of screws on the bottom here, which is kind of nice. So, use that to screw the drive down onto here. Or even better, like that. Probably like that. Nah, maybe not. No, yeah, it would be, would it? I don't know. How are these screws positioned? I don't see any funnel screws, so I'm not sure. I'd guess it would go like this. But I don't know for sure. It should go in like this, though, just so that the bracket can actually fit right. So I'll figure that out and stick it in there. Okay, so it goes like this. I just screwed it into the bottom there. There's a little bit of space there for the screws to go, so it'll go in pretty much like this. And yeah, like that. And then I'll just screw it right in. Okay, so the system's been put together. We have this 400 watt power supply, which may or may not stay in there, depending on the fan failed on the first one I had, so hopefully this fan is still good. The fan stays good. So everything's mounted in there. I have the SSD in there, the 8-data SSD, the SATA DVD drive in there, and 4 gigs of RAM, and the Pentium dual core with a stock heatsink, and it should all be good. So I'll start this up, check the BIOS, and then we'll get to installing Windows. So basically what I'm going to do for this insurance firm is what I'm going to do is build a machine, put Windows on it, put the motherboard drivers in, and that's it. Then I'm home free. That's all I have to do. They can their IT department will take over and install things like McAfee, which I personally hate, but it's their business, not mine. So they can do whatever they want with these. Probably McAfee and Citrix and all the corporate software that they need, which is why I got Windows 7 Professional for this machine. I don't know if they need anything that requires Professional. I know, I think SQL requires 7 Pro. I'm not sure. That's what a friend told me. But, whatever. We'll start this machine up, take a look at the BIOS, see what it's like, and, there you go. This is going to be the prototype machine for the business, and there you go. Alright, here we go. So what I'm going to do here is start it up, and you can just you'll be able to hear how quiet this thing is. It's a very quiet computer. Yeah, let me reset that there so I can get into the BIOS. I don't have a PC speaker, so I can't exactly hear when it starts up, but here's what we have. Detects the 4 gigs of RAM. It's 1066 RAM, so that's what it detects. Smart fan control is disabled. Is ACPI on? It's whatever. Here's the CPU, in case you guys want details on the CPU. This is the main difference between the i3 and the Pentium dual core, is that it does not support hyperthreading, whereas the i3 does. So it's pretty much an i3 without hyperthreading. Okay, SATA is on IDE mode. That's good. That may be weird, but that's good. Boots from the DVD drive first, then boots from the SSD. Oops, no, I don't want to do that. Timing is what it should be, 77720. It actually has a boot override thing in the BIOS. That's not bad. So I'll go get a Windows disk, and we can install Windows on here. And then we'll be right in business. Alright, time to get the drivers installed, so let's do this. I haven't seen one of these BioStar driver CDs in a long time. Alright. Intel x64-bit VGA driver. Chipset drivers, Realtek Network, and Realtek Audio. So this is a good board. It's got some good stuff on it, so let's install all this, man. Alright. Okay, the one thing I'm going to show before I end this video is boot time. So we'll start the machine, and you'll watch it boot in real time. There you go. Standard Omegatrans BIOS. That noise you're hearing is the driver CD. It's still in the DVD drive there that I need to get out. Done. There you go, with the Windows desktop. And the computer starting that fast is probably going to be a major advantage as far as productivity goes, because you can just turn this thing on and boom, there it is. I think this will be very impressive to the person who hired me to do this job. So I might end up doing this to the rest of his offices. I'm going to show computer on the desktop, and then I'll show you guys the specs of the machine in Windows here. There you go. 4 gigs of RAM, 2.6 gigahertz Pentium dual core, and there you go. Windows 7 Professional Service Pack 1. There you go. I was going to give them 8 gigs, but that was over budget. But 4 gigs should really do fine, considering it's an office machine. So it's within the specs they want. They wanted 3 to 8 gigs, and 4 gigs should be good enough for now. So that can always be upgraded later, because there are 2 empty slots in there that you can stick another 4 gig kit into. It's just another purchase away, so it's not a big deal. There you have it. All I was assigned to do was install Windows, install the motherboard drivers. Done. Don't have to do anything else. Can just send it straight to their IT department, which easy jobs like this are nice because you don't have to do much. But yeah, that's this computer. It's quite a zippy machine with that SSD in it. SSDs really make a difference as far as speed goes. Anyway, that's the computer that I built for the insurance firm. I hope they really like it because it's nice and zippy. I like it so far. I don't know how slow McAfee is going to make it, but I guess we'll find out at some point if I ever work on it again. So there you have it. On Monday, I'll probably bring this over to the guy, and that'll be that. Hope you guys enjoyed watching the build of this video. If I end up building the other machines, I'll show you what case and power supply I get and things like that, and then show you a completed build. But other than that, I'm not going to go over it in too much detail in the other video. If I end up building the other machines, just because I'm not going to repeat myself too much. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good one, everybody. Ciao.